Hi, this is Kenny Albert. You're listening to the Broadway Hat Podcast with your host, Kyle Hall, the #1 podcast for all things Rangers hockey.
Welcome back to the Broadway Hat Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hall, and the first domino of the offseason has fallen. Chris Drury has decided that he is not bringing back Gerard Gallant for a third season of the New York Rangers. I was thinking that the Rangers would make a change. I thought that Gallant was the guy they should have hired the first time. I liked the hire of Gallant. I thought that he was a good hire, and I think he delivered on certain aspects of the job. I mean, they had two great regular seasons, a great run to the Eastern Conference Final. Yes, they blew a 2-0 series lead in the Eastern Conference Final. They got to a slow start this year. They got it rolling finally. You get to this playoffs, though. You get out to a 2-0 lead against the Devils, and then I just think the way the Rangers played in the losses and that their Game 7 just not showing up. A team that I think Chris Drury thought after the playoff deadline was, I think personally, was the best skilled wide Rangers team in a very, very long time. The deepest Rangers team in a long time. And to be beaten like that with an AHL goalie, you can say there wasn't too much adjustments happening from game to game, whatever it was. There's the reports now that there was the argument between Chris Drury and Gerard Gallant following Game 4. Other reports coming out now that Artemi Panarin might have been unhappy with Gallant, and apparently a large reason behind the move was because of the player and GM end of the year conversations where Gallant was not sitting on those exit interviews, that some players had some things to say about him. And I guess one thing adds up, or a couple things add up, and the Rangers decide to make a move. And I don't know, when you look at the market, who is better than Gallant out there right now. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of guys who have Stanley Cup pedigrees that are available, but are they the right fit for this team? Do they? And it's a huge decision. This team's in win mode now. And I wrote an article for Belly Up Sports last week about how important the summer is. The first decision, which they made, is Gerard Gallant. Is he back? Is he not back? And then the free agents. You have Keandre Miller restricted, Lafreniere restricted, Zach Jones restricted. Is he part of the future? Is he going to get a look on the D-line? Lafreniere, do you trade him? Do you re-sign him? What happens with him? Keandre, is he extended long-term? Do you get a bridge deal done with him? Do you bring back Kane? Can you bring back Tarasenko? Do you bring back McCullough? There's a lot of answers. There's a lot of questions. They need a lot of answers. But Gallant was one that you looked at his exit interview with the media. He kind of put out there, like, what else do I got to do? And when I saw that it was a mutual decision, it sounded pretty much like he wanted his job still. So I don't know how mutual the decision was. It sounds like the Rangers were the ones that made the decision for him. Let him save some face by saying it was mutual. But the guy had the best, point percentage, winning percentage, whatever it is, in Rangers history for a coach more than 2 years, because Keenan didn't make the past the 1 year. So, yeah, I mean, now I wrote a brand new article for Belly Up Sports looking at possible replacements now for Gerard Gallant. And I think that they're going to go after a Stanley Cup winner. I think they're going to go after a guy who's done it before. I think the perfect guy for the job isn't even available right now. Is Mike Sullivan, the Penguins head coach. Now there's been rumors that the Penguins might move on from Sullivan. There's going to be a new front office there, so there is a possibility that he could be available. But if he's not, they just can't sign him, obviously. But he's a BU guy, so that's the connection there with Drury. Two-time Cup champion, has coached the biggest, best player in the world, in Sidney Crosby. So he's got experience coaching stars, and I think he's the perfect fit. Former Ranger assistant for a couple of years. I think people really liked him in New York. So I think he is the #1 candidate if he is available. Then you got a guy like Peter Laviolette. He's been to 3 Cup finals. He's won 1. In his 20-plus years of coaching, in his full seasons, he's only had 2 losing seasons. So, he's a guy who wins everywhere he goes. And he was just let go by Washington after just 3 years there. I think Bob Hartley could be a name to watch. He was in the running for the job 2 years ago. Now, Drury played for him and won a cup with him in Colorado. So that's something just to keep an eye on. Now, he is quote-unquote retired, but he did say that he would return to the bench for the right job. Claude Julian's still available, former Stanley Cup champion. He said that he wants to get back to coaching. And then you got, do they bring in Mark Messier? Is the guy who delivered the cup after, 1940, is he the guy that comes back and delivers another cup? Is that a possibility? He's on ESPN now, so he's kind of in the know of the new NHL and everything, but never coached. His only appearance as a coach in the senior level was with Team Canada, the Deutschland Cup. So not a ton of coaching experience there from him. Is that a negative? If you're looking for a leader, he's the guy. If you could bring in some coaches to help coach him up, literally coach him up, he can be the locker room guy. He can be the leader behind the scenes, but that's the only knock on Messier. And he wants a job. He lobbied for it 2 years ago. He said it before. He wants to be involved with the Rangers again. I don't know. I don't know if he's the answer. Is it Chris Knobloch? Do they in-house? Do they look in-house? The Hartford head coach. He was handpicked by Chris Drury 4 years ago. When Drury was running the Wolf Pack and turning that franchise around. He's had great success down in Hartford. He's turned it around down there. They're having one of the best seasons in franchise history this year, and he's won championships in the OHL and WHL. So, he's won at every stop he's got at Knobloch. So does he possibly get promoted? Is he the guy? Andrew Burnett had 50 wins, President's Trophy winner down there in Florida as an interim guy. He's played over 1,000 NHL games. He gets fired after they lose in the second round and get swept by Tampa last year. He's now with New Jersey, so obviously he's helped turn around that team too. Does he get a shot at a full-time gig? How about Jeff Halpern, the assistant coach down in Tampa? Another former Ranger for, half of a season? He played over 1,000 games in the NHL too, and he's won 2 cups as an assistant coach in Tampa, but young guy, he was his first head coaching job. Is that, with a win-now team, is that a guy you go after? I think it's Laviolette. I think they go after a proven guy. They're not going after Quinville or Sutter, apparently. Those, Quinville's got his own issues there with the Kyle Beach stuff. Sutter, it seems like they just don't want an interest in him. So we'll see. They have a ton of, games like Jay Pandolfo I saw. He's a BU coach. That's, the Drury connection there. Greg Moore played a couple of his Rangers organization. He's done a great job with Toronto Marlies. James Patrick, former longtime Ranger. He's been a very successful coach in WHL with the Winnipeg Ice. Yeah, so his name. And these are all names to watch. Travis Green got floated out there by a guy, Stan Fischler, as a guy that he thinks would be a good fit in New York. So, there's a ton of candidates. There's a ton of guys. It's just if they can find the right one to win, to lead the team to a victory, because it's been 83 seasons and 1 cup. So something's got to change, and the Rangers have to figure it out, because this is the time to win. This is the team. They've built the team to win now, and they need to find a head coach that can come in and win now, or else, this is all for naught. And, you have a guy like Henrik Lundqvist who, unfortunately, his career fell short, and you don't want to see that for Igor Shesterkin. And, right now they have him on a very team-friendly contract. The next one will not be so team-friendly if they can afford him. So now is the time to win. You have the goaltending, you have the veterans, you have the young players. They have a great mix. They've built a great team. They just got to get the right coach. So, that's the biggest thing in Rangers world, right? Is head coaching, who comes in, who doesn't. And our guest this week is a guy who can tell us about a couple head coaches that could possibly be there. We're joined by Alex Whelan this week, who just finished up his 3rd pro season. He's played the last 3 years in Hartford. Actually got moved at the deadline this year to the Columbus organization. But, we talked to him about his college coach, Rand Pickard, who just wrapped up his national championship win there with Quinnipiac, and he's a guy who is really hot. His name's hot in the streets right now for possibly an NHL job, and obviously played 3 years for Chris Knobloch. So you get some inside scoop on Knobloch too, but some great stories from him. A Jersey guy who was a Devils fan. We'll let him get a pass on that, but he shared some great stuff about the Hartford team, and talk about guys like Braden Schneider and stuff like that. So it was a really great interview with him. But before we start our interview, Alex, I do want to tell you about a couple of our sponsors. Caldera Labs. Say goodbye to the generic face wash on your counter, because Caldera Lab is here to save the day when it comes to your skin.
Backed by a leading clinical trial where 9 out of 10 men experience healthier and visible improved skin, Caldera Lab has the tools to unlock your best first impression and confidence. Today we have an exclusive offer for you, our audience, so you can try it for yourself. And you can see why so many men trust Caldera Lab with their skincare needs. Use our code BROADWAY at calderalab.com for 20% off their best product. Listen, as I'm getting older, in my 30s now, you got to take care of your skin. And these guys are out there helping you take care of your skin. They're helping you with your wrinkles. They're keeping they're keeping you young. They're keeping you young. They keep you look good. Caldera Labs creates a high-performance men's skincare product by combining pharmaceutical-grade science along with nature's purest and most potent ingredients. Kicking off their stellar skincare selection, we have the Regimen Bundle, a twice-a-day routine to transform your skin. Inside this bundle, you'll find the Clean Slate, the Base Layer, and the Good. The Clean Slate is where you start your day. It's balancing cleanser that uses gentle plant-based cleansing, leaving all skin types exceptionally refreshed. The Base Layer is a nutrient-dense, fortifying moisture that hydrates your skin and absorbs fast, leaving you with a matte finish so you can start your day confidently. And the Good is your go-to at night before bed, and it's clinically proven multifunctional serum that helps your skin look tighter and smoother, as well as helps reduce visibility of wrinkles and fine lines. How can you not beat that? As you age, you might notice more fine lines and wrinkles. It's a sign of aging, unfortunately. This is the opposite of what any guy wants, really what anyone wants. And the more you neglect your skin, the more visible this will become over time. It's time to control your skin and take these easy steps. Ready to take your skin to the next level with Caldera Lab? Look no further than the Icon. The Rejuvenating Eye Serum is here to help address the three most common skin concerns around the eye: fine lines, dark circles, and puffiness. The three worst things you can have. Committed to transparency, sustainability, and excellence, Caldera Lab is on the mission to better men's skincare around the world, priding itself on clean ingredients and doing right by its customers and planet we live in. Caldera Lab is certified B Corporation as well as a member of the 1% for the planet. Through uncompromised craftsmanship, exceptional ingredients, and rigorous transparency, Caldera Lab is here to upgrade your skin and confidence. So make sure to get 20% off today by using our code BROADWAY at calderalab.com. That's 20% off at calderalab.com by using the code BROADWAY. And we're also joined by our friends over at Kinzuri.
Fellas, have you ever wished you were a little bit taller? Maybe you matched on Tinder and her profile said must be 6 feet tall. Maybe your date wears heels and you just can't because you're just not, or she just can't because you're just not tall enough. Well, Short Kings, today's sponsor, has you covered. Kinzuri makes shoes that make you up to 2.8 inches taller without anyone noticing. Look, girls get heels, makeup, and push-up bras. Why can't men get a boost in confidence as well? We're all the same height laying down, if you get what I mean. For a limited time offer, our listeners can get up to 15% off every order with your code BROADWAY at kinzuri.com. The site is already 30% off, so with our code, you save an extra 15% off. That's 45% off your entire order. You're basically getting these shoes for free. So make sure you go show the support to the show and go check out kinzuri.com. That's CONZURI.com and use the code BROADWAY. Listen, if you can get a little extra edge in the dating game, I'm out of it way now. I don't even want to think about getting into a dating game ever again. But listen, if you're in there, you're looking for make a good impression, or maybe you're taking a picture with some of your guys at home. Listen, all my friends at home are over 6 feet tall, so maybe the next group shot I have to get these shoes on to make sure that I can fit in a little bit. They don't have to adjust the lens at all. But make sure you go on there, check them out. Not only does Kinzuri shoes make you up to 2.8 inches taller, but they're also incredibly stylish and comfortable. These are not all-man shoes. They're not Velcro shoes. They're not ugly, ugly shoes. You'll get compliments in them. Even if they don't even make you taller, you get compliments no matter what. They have styles for every occasion: smart, casual, sporty, you name it, they got it. The height insoles are actually built into the shoe, so no one can tell that you're hiding some secret height boost in there. The brand is also hidden on the shoes and the packaging, so it's literally the ultimate height hack. Life short, you don't have to be. It's time to level up the playing field, my guys. Maybe update that dating profile to 6 feet. Kinzuri is an absolute game changer for you in your dating life and your regular life in general. So make sure you go on the website, use our discount code BROADWAY, save that 15% off. You get that 45% off total. Like I said, it's basically free, so make sure you go check it out. Kinzuri.com, CONZURI.com, and make sure you use that code BROADWAY today.
All right, we're now joined by a very special guest. Just wrapped up his third pro season, Alex Whelan. Thanks so much for joining us, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you started in Hartford, you end the year in Cleveland. So I mean, you didn't get. I guess you got a little bit warmer going to Cleveland a little bit, but you still survived the Hartford winter, huh?
Yeah, I got traded a little bit too late to avoid the Hartford winter, but yeah. And then right when I got to Cleveland, I think like the first 2 weeks it snowed almost every day, so just got a little bit colder there.
Yeah, that's rough. They couldn't say it's anywhere warm, huh? Because you're a Jersey boy though, so I gotta ask. I think I'm gonna regret maybe asking this question, but who's your team growing up?
Yeah, my team growing up was the Devils.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry. But yeah, when I was younger, I went to Game 7 of the '03 Cup final. Like my friend had an extra ticket, and invited me, so like I had to be a Devils fan after that, and I was a Devils fan since then.
That's rough. That's a rough go. So this week you're sitting on your couch rooting for the Devils. Then you're against the Rangers.
I don't know. I mean, it's tough now. It's different than it used to be. But yeah. I mean, now I'm definitely rooting for the Devils. They're playing the Hurricanes. I can root for them a little harder now, I think.
So who was your guy growing up? Who was your favorite player?
On the Devil, I mean, I loved like back in when I was really little, I loved Sergei Brylin. He was one of my favorites. And then as I got a little older, I liked Zach Parise. He
Okay.
was my guy. Yeah.
Islander fans will love that. When I got older, I'm a current player. When I got older, it was Zach Parise.
Yeah. I know. Now he's still going though.
Yeah, it's crazy. He actually had a good year this year.
I know he did. He was good in the playoffs too. I was like doing really good.
He's the type of player though, right? Like he's like just like a grinder that I feel like he always gets it done in big games.
Yeah, he does. Scores big goals, like plays hard.
It's not his fault Minnesota gave him a ton of money,
Yeah, I know. Good
That's
for him.
like that's the whole thing. Like, oh, he's when he came to the Islanders, oh well, he's washed up. He's not washed up. The guy still can play well. He just made a ton of money. They couldn't afford him anymore.
Yeah, maybe he's not worth that contract, but he's still a really good player.
They had to play, Kirill the Thrill. It's a little bit,
exactly.
they had to get some money going there. But you were New Jersey High School Player of the Year though, for hockey, and obviously hockey might not be known as a hotbed here in the area, but New Jersey, mid central New Jersey, they have really good hockey here. I know you play with Connor Clifton too, who's from the area at Quinnipiac, but your Jersey Hockey Player of the Year, you played all your junior hockey here in New Jersey too. So I guess what was the hockey scene like for you growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much played the same. I played at the Ice Vault in Wayne for the same organization, like pretty much up until I got to college. So I played Bandits, New Jersey Bandits, and I played New Jersey Hitmen, and I even played a year at junior with New Jersey Hitmen. But yeah, I mean, I thought like it definitely is a really good state. Like, I mean, we competed with all the big states, so to say, I guess, like Massachusetts, Michigan, like Minnesota teams. Like we always played against them. We competed well. We won some games, lost some games. And I mean, out east, you have like my age group. We had to play like Long Island Goals. We had like Adam Fox on that team, McAvoy. Like I mean, there's a lot of really good competition in this area. So it was fun growing up and playing against guys like that, and good, really good for everyone getting better in this area. And I think it's continuing to get better.
I had Rob O'Gara on the show 2 years ago, and then he was like, oh, Long Island hockey's coming along. He's like, Fox is coming along. He's like, watch all these kids come up. Now you see, Sonny Milano's there. So all these kids from the local areas are now emerging, and you see all these, the junior Rangers, the junior Devils actually going up and playing these big tournaments too, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. I've noticed like even on like the national development team, like there's a bunch of guys from New Jersey up there now, like that were from my area. So I think it's pretty cool to see that.
The thing with Jersey though is I've had a couple Jersey guys on, but they're all Southern Jersey guys. They're like Philly guys. Like they're not even Devil fans. They're Philly fans. So it's like at least Cherry Hill kids,
Yeah. That's what we always say. We're like, I don't know, like that's Philly. That's like they played like Team Comcast, like Little Flyers.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
That's not even New Jersey, but
USHL, you got drafted to USHL, but you didn't go that route. What led to that decision?
Yeah, I mean, that was exciting. Like I feel like when you're like that age in high school, like everyone wants to get drafted in the USHL. At the time I was committed to Quinnipiac, so I was talking with the coaches and I said, like, do you guys want me to go out there, play junior in the USHL? And they were like, honestly, like we have a really good like repertoire with the Hitmen, and like that's where I was playing like midget already. So they're like, if you want to stay there, play Hitman, and like stay home for your year junior, like we're more than happy with that. So that was kind of all I needed, and I was just like, all right, like I guess I don't have to go travel out to I mean, I guess where I got drafted wasn't that bad. Madison, Wisconsin would have been pretty fun, but it was nice to stay home and still play in front of my parents, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's not bad. You're not going to like, what was it, Omaha or like who
Some
did
of the
someone play?
places weren't great.
Some of the places is like crazy, like in the middle of nowhere, Iowa.
Yeah, Des Moines, I think.
Des Moines, yeah, like, come on.
Yeah.
That's rough. 17 years old in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah, it's tough.
So you go to Quinnipiac, and so what other schools were you looking at? What led to that decision going there?
At the time, I was kind of being like not like heavily recruited. I was still a junior in high school, so I was Colgate was looking at me, and then a few other like Hockey East schools. I had like Northeastern, UConn, a few of those schools, and I only went on a couple of visits, like maybe Northeastern and Colgate, and then my third visit was Quinnipiac, and that's like, I mean, at the time they were number one in the country. I forget what year. I think that was like 2013 or something. They were number one in the country. Like the Cliftons were playing there. Like when I went on my visit, like I saw like Connor Clifton there, and like he's like a New Jersey kid. Like he's like a New Jersey legend. You're like, whoa, like this guy's here, and like he's like saying hi to me and he's talking to me while I'm there. Like I thought that was awesome. And like, I mean, you can't really beat like the rink at Quinnipiac, like locker rooms, the facility's awesome. So like, I mean, at that point I was a junior in high school. I was just like starstruck almost by the whole experience that they brought me around there. Like it was just like like, it's not like, I'm not saying anything bad about like Colgate or like the other places I went for visits, but like Quinnipiac just like kind of wows you. And like, I mean, especially them being number one at the time and being interested in me, like I felt like I was really excited for that.
So I visited Quinnipiac, not for hockey, for just college. And I went there on my visit, and I remember staying there, and you're like, it's like a picturesque campus. Like the campus is beautiful.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like the bell tower starts going. I'm like, where the hell are we right now? And I'm like looking around, and like, it's like, wow, this is unbelievable. Then you look at the tuition, like, yeah, maybe not so much. But I know I remember I get there. I'm like, this place is so beautiful. I mean, this is unbelievable campus. And then the best was you will go into the school store, and they have like, the football t-shirt there that says like undefeated since like 18, whatever. Like I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, no, they were like, hey, our hockey team's awesome. Our hockey team's awesome. And that was back in 2006. That's like when you guys like first like came over to D1. Like, oh, the hockey team's great. The hockey team's great. But yeah, no, I remember that campus. I was like, wow, this campus. I think the clock tower still sticks out to me. Like it was like the beautiful like chiming of like, I forget what song it was. I was like chiming in the background. My mom was like, what? Where are we right now?
Like every hour, the clock.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, awesome.
It was like the sound of music is like all of a sudden playing out in front of us, like on campus.
Yeah, literally.
So you get the Quinnipiac, and Rand Pecknold's done an unbelievable job there with that program. They've just won national championship this year. I mean, they had to be pumped for that.
Yeah, that was insane. I had a game. I was able to watch the third period in overtime, which I think was good enough for me. I didn't want to have to watch the whole thing anyway. It was a little nerve-wracking, especially when they were down. But I mean, the ending to that game was just insane. I was sitting on a bus watching it on my laptop. Like, I'm like, did that just happen? Like you almost thought it was like a replay. It was that quick. Like,
I know.
It was crazy.
You didn't have the Rob Brennan Moore treatment. You couldn't catch the PJ down there for the game to watch the rest of it.
No, unfortunately, you don't get that in the AHL.
But your junior year there, you guys went to the regional finals, and really since that year, unfortunately, your senior year was cut short because of COVID. But since that year, they've been, there every year towards the end. So kind of built off that momentum there.
Yeah, I mean, I really think like that started the year before. We had like in Quinnipiac standards, a very bad year. We were 500. My freshman year, they were coming off. They went to the national championship the year before. So they brought a lot of the guys back. Like Devon Taves and Sam Annis went to pro, but most of the guys were back from that team, and we had high expectations my freshman year. We ended up not making the tournament. We still had like a pretty solid year. Didn't make the tournament though. Sophomore year, we were not good. We were like 500, and that was like the end of the world. And like Quinnipiac standards. And like, I mean, like for me, like honestly, before that, I never really had like a losing season. So like, I was kind of like, I was like, whoa, like this is kind of a big deal. Like this is like, and like that spring we had such an intense spring, like the workouts and like the battle, like we weren't even on the ice. We were just like, we would have these competition days with our strength coach, like stuff like that. And the next year we just came back. We were just hungry, and we had I mean, I think we were like 2 in the country at one point, and we were playing UMass in the middle of the year. They were 1. It was 1 and 2 playing. I think we had a home and home, and that was one of the best weekends of my college career for sure. It was just so cool. But that year was great. Yeah.
I mean, your sophomore year, you led the team in scoring. So maybe you could have told the strength coach, like, hey, listen, like I pulled my weight. All right. I had the most goals on the team. You know, it wasn't because of me.
I had my guy. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Although you might have won the Cy Young that year, 16-3, you know,
Yeah,
we won't bring that up.
Yeah. I was going to say, hopefully it doesn't bring up the assist part of that, but
Talk about that senior year, gets, you know, cut short because of COVID, and then you signed with Hartford after that. But how weird was the end of that year?
yeah, it was so weird. I mean, like that, the whole year for me was pretty weird. Like I broke my thumb right before the season started. I played the first 2 games thinking that it wasn't like, didn't think it was broken. Played the first 2 games and I'm like, all right, I can't even hold my stick. So then I'm out for about like a month or 5 weeks or something. And I come back and I'm still like not doing great. And then the second half of the year, I came back from like Christmas break and had a great second half of the year. And like our team was, I mean, we were really picking up speed picking up steam at the end. We rolled, Cornell was number 1 at the time. We beat them like 5-0. Like, and then we played, I think we had, Princeton and Yale was our last, like our senior night. Yale was our senior night, and, or Brown and Yale. And we beat Yale pretty good, as usual, but, yeah. And then that was actually our last game. So we had 2 weeks off, like in between that and what was supposed to be our next series. And I think we were supposed to play Yale again. And then Yale was one of the first teams to cancel. It was just a weird time. Like they canceled, then we were supposed to play Princeton. We were still practicing, like Princeton canceled. And then there was like 4 teams left because like all the Ivies ended up canceling first. So then it was like supposed to be us against like RPI or something. It was weird. And then, yeah. And then they canceled the season. Like Rand brought us in, we had a big meeting, like it's over, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm sorry, blah. And then, yeah. And then after that, it was definitely like my agent was saying it was probably one of the weirdest times to be like a college free agent coming out. Cause it's like teams were like, we don't even know what to do. Like, are we signing guys? Are we not? So like, there were some teams that were like, still like Hartford still was signing. But like, there were some teams like that were interested that were like we might wait until like the fall. And then like, at that point you're kind of like, I don't want to wait that long. Like, I want to like build off the momentum I had. And like, so it was a weird time. And I ended up, luckily, like Hartford signed me, and I mean, it was good fit, and we had a good group of guys all coming in that signed at the same time, and we ended up all being able to like work out together during that long off season that felt like forever. So like I got to know a lot of the guys, and it was really good.
So did you ever report to Hartford that March, or was it just like I'm signed on paper and I'm just waiting for a phone call?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. So like my season was still going, so like, but some of the guys still so some of like my closest friends, actually, their seasons ended like the week before. They signed with Hartford and they played a game with Hartford. So those guys were there, and then the season ended, or then whatever. COVID
Cancel. Yeah.
Everything canceled. But yeah, so everything canceled, and then I signed with Hartford after that.
Jeez. Yeah, I can't. Like, probably just like, all right, I have a contract, my name on it, so you guys can't go back now. Like, I'm coming here. I'm showing up sometime.
Yeah, it happened to be like 10 or 11 months later or something, but
that's great. Yeah, and then the next season it was like a 20-game season, like, and then they had like 50 guys in Hartford. Like, it was like the taxi squads, and there was there's no ECHL. My buddy Riley Armstrong was the head coach for Maine. I remember he was signing guys, and he's like, I don't even know if we're gonna have a season or not, and they didn't even play. So he's like, now they're all in Hartford. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was weird. It was such a weird time. We played we played Providence and Bridgeport. That was the only teams we played.
Right, played like 20 times, I think
Yeah,
15
12
times
times,
each.
I think 12 times each.
And how many games in did you hate them?
Like probably like 2 for each. Like it just like there were stretches where we play like Providence like 6 in a row or something. It was just an insane time.
The refs had to be loving that. Just
Yeah.
the same idiots hitting each other from behind at the same play. Oh man. I mean, so from that, I mean, that year in Hartford, like obviously there's so many been like, what level of competition was that in the practice? Like obviously it was like the hardest practices because you're just like going at each other trying to win like a roster spot. Like what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it was very intense. Like I mean, like obviously like what you were saying, we had so many guys in Hartford, so it was tough. Like in the beginning, like I was a young guy, so like I wasn't in the lineup for the first few games, and I'm like, all right, like I got to go do something. It's like, what else? I have no other choice other than to do well in practice. So I'm battling guys in practice, and it was just a different year because like I've learned over the past 2 years, it's like when you play a full season, it's like you're not really battling as much in practice. Like you're doing the flow drills, like
Mm-hmm.
but like that year it was like battles, like small games, like you had to win. Like for me, I was like, I got to win my battles in practice, and hopefully I get into a game. And I got like 10 that year, but I mean,
It's like
it's
half.
still,
It's like half the games.
yeah, I know. Yeah, it gave me good confidence to come in next year, and I'm like, all right, at least I know I could play. Like,
So the next offseason, you get invited to prospect camp with the Rangers. It was like the first time they did it forever because of COVID. And you guys end up playing that series against Philly. So how cool was it to put that Ranger jersey on?
yeah, that was really cool. I mean, as I said, I was a Devils fan, but like, I mean, when you're from this area, it's like if you have the chance to put a Rangers jersey on, like that's a really cool experience. So I thought that was awesome playing against the Flyers, and it was like first shift of the first game, like huge hits, like it just felt like really cool, and it was a really good experience.
I think it was a Rempe where he like
Yeah,
I mean it blasted the guy's nose open afterward. I mean
I think
it was
Rempe hit.
intense.
Yeah, Rempe hit one of their defensemen right into Justin Richards, and the defenseman and Justin Richards both came up with like bloody faces, and their masks were all blood. I'm like, oh my god! I was like, yeah,
This is what we're in for here, boys.
yeah. Then that was a full other that was the first shift of the game, so we had basically 2 full games to play that like that.
And then you get invited to training camp for the first time. So what was that like?
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, like it's so cool, like just being around, like I don't know, like Panarin, like Kreider, like those guys. Like it's so cool. Like, and you're playing against them, playing with them, like out on the ice, like in the scrimmages and stuff. Like it's really cool, and it also like I think it's like great for like guys like me or like young guys. It's like it shows that like like you're not that far off. It's like you can make plays like that. You can keep up with the speed with them. It's like, I mean, the little things they do are definitely different, but it's good to be able to like see that in real life. So you can be like, all right, that's what I have to work on, like to get to that level. So I think that was a really cool experience.
Now between the last 2 years of training camp, was there any like NHL like welcome to NHL moments for you that like stuck like either like you saw a play or a guy or like something like wow, that's incredible.
I had one that I was out there with like one of my Zach Jatari. He was like one of my best friends, and we were out there for a shift against Panarin, and like I think it was like Panarin, Lafreniere, and someone else, and like they were kind of like working us we were in the D zone, but like we were like still like keeping them all to the outside, and then there was one point where like Panarin tried to like put it through my legs, and I ended up like somehow like I like kicked it with my skate, and it like I didn't mean to, it just went off my skate and into the corner, and we ended up getting it out, and I like turned around to Zach, I'm like, man, if that went through, like, oh, he had me, and it's like if that went through, I would have been just so embarrassed. I was like, thank God that luckily hit my skate.
You would have gotten sent back to Hartford that in
Yeah,
the shift in the drill.
yeah, I would have just gotten right off the ice and just
See
packed
that
up my
guy.
car.
Hey, this is great. This is a
Yeah,
great time.
thanks, guys.
Any good shots on Igor in training camp? I heard he's just like he hates getting scored on too.
Yeah, actually, like my first year, I scored. I think I had like the second goal of like the whole scrimmage or the whole camp, so that was pretty cool. Like me and Mike O'Leary were out there together, and he passed one back door to me, and I scored it, and we were fired up. We were like, let's go.
Any, I mean, Gallant, they moved on from Gallant. We'll get to that in a minute because I have some questions about some of your former coaches. Any good interaction with the coaching staff though?
Yeah. I mean, we had Murph up in Hartford the year before, so we knew him a little bit, and then I mean, a couple like brief encounters with Gallant. He seemed like a nice guy, like intense in practice. But like he wanted to get, he always wanted to like make sure everyone was playing hard. So I mean, I kind of liked him from just the few practices that I was out there with. But yeah, I knew Murph more, so like we talked to him a lot. He's such a good guy. Hopefully he stays there.
Yeah, we'll see what they do with that.
Yeah.
From a speed aspect of it, was like obviously it's training camp, so I mean it's not full speed, but was there a huge adjustment from you going from like the AHL, like you saw it for the first time, now you're seeing an AHL training camp? Was there an adjustment for you?
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. I think it's more almost like the skill level. I think the speed is kind of similar. Sometimes the AHL can be a little bit even more like frantic, like things are going on really fast sometimes, and it's like almost too much. But like the skill level and like the poise is kind of more what like I noticed up there. It's like some like, I mean, like you can see it like watching it in games. Like some of the guys can just hold on to the puck and like it's. I mean, you watch like Adam Fox, Jack Hughes, those guys, like they're right in the middle of three defenders and they're holding on to the puck looking for a pass. It's like a lot of the times, like I'm thinking like if I'm in the middle of three defenders, I'm dumping the puck in and trying to get it. Like it's like they think the game a little differently. So like that's one thing that I've really thought to myself where I'm like, all right, I can probably hold on to it a little longer. Like definitely not as long as those guys, but maybe a little bit longer.
Well, Foxley, he was in slow motion. Was he like that as a junior player too when you played against him? Was he that controlled and that calm?
Yeah. I mean, I've always like I played against him I mean pretty much my whole life. I played against him. He was on the goals. Played against him in college for 3 or 4 years maybe. And yeah, he's always been like that. And I honestly like don't know how he does it. He's just so calm and like poised with the puck and always holds it. And then like there's some games where you like come back and you're like, oh, like Adam Fox didn't do that much to us this game, like at Quinnipiac. And like you turn around, like you look at the box score and be like 4 assists. And it's like, how did he do that?
Yeah, it's crazy because like you almost people Ranger fans sometimes get on him because they think like, oh, he's dogging it or like, oh, he's not putting an effort out in there, but like that's just he's just smooth. He just like that's what he
Yeah.
does. Like, I remember, I don't know if you're a Yankee fan or not. You notice the jersey in New York. That's like the one thing we can unite about Yankee fans. But like
Yeah, exactly.
Robinson Cano back in the day, everyone like said, oh, he doesn't hustle, but he was just like a smooth player.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how he operated. Like I feel like that's what Fox is.
Yeah. Yeah. He's definitely, I mean, he's always in the right spot. Like he's making the right plays. I don't know how like Ranger fans could be mad at him. Like what has he done wrong in his time there really?
Ranger fans get mad at a lot of guys. You know, that's
That's right.
part of their job as fandom. This key on stupid stuff and get mad at things, especially if there's playoffs. Everyone's mad at everything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Talk about you. So in Hartford, the 2021 season, you played 62 games down there. So you play the full year in Hartford. I got to ask about Braden Schneider because Ranger fans talk about guys they love Braden Schneider.
Yeah.
And so you saw him up close and personal down there. I mean, how special can this kid be?
Yeah. I mean, we noticed it right from the first couple games in Hartford. We're like, wow, this guy, like he's special. Like we knew he was going to get called up. It was just a matter of time. And like, if there was a spot for him up there. So, I mean, he's awesome. I mean, the way he plays up there too is just unbelievable. Like I love watching him play, like how he just hits people and wins every battle. Like I love that. And like, that's so good for a defenseman. And like, that's just like throughout the years, like he's going to be so good because people aren't going to want to go into corners against him and battle against him. So, I mean, we knew right away that how good he was. And I mean, I think he's going to be even better up there. I think he can put up points. He can score some goals too. I mean, he scored some goals even this year. He had like a little streak going, I remember earlier in the season. But I think he can do that, and he's going to be really good for a long time.
He had a great goal last game of the year that got disallowed because I think Trocheck went off sides. But no, he had some offensive. But I mean, he can lay the lumber, man. He is. Yeah. They call him Baby Trouba for a reason. I mean, that guy, he's a good hitter too. Like he's a clean hitter. Like he knows when to like pinch to hit, which I think is so important for young defensemen too.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Ranger fans love him, and I know. Like I thought the guys in Hartford, and they like, yeah, he was sick. Like they thought that he was gonna be all like
they knew that he was ready to move up even at that a young age, and that he was like mature enough to handle it.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess in general, like first like your full year as a pro hockey, but going from college where it's like 30 games, now you're playing 60, 70 games, you know, it's a long run. Like, how was that grind for you?
Yeah, it was definitely different than college. Like you play, I mean, you're playing 3 or 4 times a week now, or in college you're playing Friday and Saturday. And I mean, for me, like it was like the practices weren't as tough. Like in Quinnipiac, we had hard practices. So that made it a little bit better, but like definitely like games, like, I mean, you just get beat up over the course of the year. It's like by the end of the season, it's like everyone's getting wrapped like for something, or you're playing through some sort of injury. It's just, it's really is a grind. And like, I mean, you see like these guys in the playoffs battling, like, it's like they're going through, I mean, I'm sure almost every guy in the playoffs still is going through some sort of nagging injury or even something small. And it's pretty intense, but I mean, I had a great time last year. It was a lot of fun. And unfortunately we didn't make the playoffs after we were like first place at
Yeah.
All-Star break.
Yeah, you had a pretty good run there, and then all kind of the wheels fell off there, right?
Yeah, that was tough. But yeah, that was like, I almost feel like that was part like our schedule last year. We kind of ended the same way this year in Cleveland. We had like 30 days left in the season, and we had like 16 games left. So it's like you're playing every other night, or like 3-3s every weekend. It's like it's tough.
Co-op, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't help when the Rangers are calling guys up too, obviously. You know,
Yeah.
I think Brodzinski came up for most of the end of the year, and who else? Someone else came up too that they kind of the Hartford list that missed out on them too.
Yeah. I think they had like, yeah, Brodzinski was there from the trade deadline. I think he just stayed up then after that.
Yeah, but another guy, talk about Brodzinski. He's a guy who I feel like every time I watch a Hartford game, he scores a goal.
Yeah.
And I feel like that he's gotten some chance with the Rangers, but hasn't gotten an extended look. But he's just kind of dominates at the AHL level.
Yeah. He's so good. Like it's crazy. Like I think he's like, even when I watch him when he plays up with the Rangers, like I'm like, this guy is just so good. Like he's always moving so fast, like making plays. He snaps the puck. Like he shoots it so hard too. Like quick, like that quick snapshot. He's really good. So I mean, I think he should be in the NHL. And based on his numbers in the AHL, I feel like he should be too.
Me too. And I was like looking at the list, like, okay, maybe like, who can step up next year from Hartford? I'm like, that's like one guy on the list. I'm like, this guy. And I remember this year, I think I must hit like 3 or 4 posts this year too. Like he was just like snake bit with the Rangers and like there's the games there. And then he goes back down to Hartford. Like I always see like Hartford posts like, oh, the captain's back, and like 2 goals later. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
so Brodzinski's back to scoring every time against Bridgeport. So that's nice.
Yeah.
So this last season, you started there in Hartford. You get traded to Columbus. Were you? I mean, sorry, Cleveland. Were you surprised by the trade?
Kind of, but not like really. I guess like the beginning of the year, I was playing in Hartford and like I was doing really well, and then I got an injury. I had a high ankle sprain, so that was like kind of a tough one, and I was out for 6 weeks. I come back and like that's one of those injuries that kind of lingers. So it was like tough for me to like get like the confidence back, because when I came back, it was like a time where a lot of like we had Carpenter then sent down, like there was a few Ranger guys being sent back, and it's like the lineup was full, and it's like I didn't immediately get back into the lineup when I was healthy, and it's like it's kind of like at that point it's like frustrating, because you're kind of like, like I deserve to play, and then it's like in the back of my head I'm like, maybe I'm not good enough to play because my ankle, like it was like a tough situation. And like we had a lot of guys in Hartford that like were really good, and everyone that was playing deserved to play. So it was tough to like kind of be on the outside there. But yeah, so then like the trade, I guess the week of the trade deadline, Ryan Martin called me, the GM, and was just like, hey, like just want to let you know, like we think like you should be playing in the AHL. Like we'd love to have you on our team, but like our team like has we're so deep. So like we're just gonna put your name out there. So I was like, all right, that's fine. And later that day, he actually called me and was like, yeah, like Cleveland said they'll trade for you. So it ended up working out, and I went to Cleveland, and I kind of like got my confidence back and felt really good there. And I played a lot, so I was ended up working out. So I was really happy with it and fortunate that Ryan Martin like gave me that opportunity to get like a fresh start for the season.
That's actually very nice. I've heard way
Yeah.
worse stories than that about trades.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Hey,
It's not
heads
like
up.
it was
And
like
it's
a,
also nice for you because, like, well, one, you're like, I hope someone does pick up his phone call about me because that'll
yeah.
make you feel even worse about it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If he didn't give you a call, you probably feel worse about your game. But
Yeah.
and Ryan Martin, obviously Chris Drury he took over Hartford, kind of picked Knobloch to become the coach there, and want to turn around Hartford. Now you've seen in recent years the team's gotten better. Obviously this year in this great run. But Ryan Martin's kind of taken over that. And how is he to work? Does he have interaction with the team a lot? Is he around practice a lot?
Honestly, not really. Like he's not around too much. Like I know he goes to like all the games. I'll see him after the games, but like he's not around the rink too much. Doesn't really get in the way. Um, Kind of just. I mean, you mostly talk to him like the beginning of the year and the end of the year. But every once in a while, like after games, he'll come up to you, say like nice job or something like that. But he's not around too much.
And so you get to Cleveland, and they're known for, obviously they play there in the Cavs arena there. So they have this huge stadium. I think they averaged, looked at, I was looking up, it was like 10,000 fans this year. And obviously Hartford does a good job bringing fans, but I think that's like, double the size of a normal crowd in Hartford. So how cool was that?
Yeah, that was really cool. We had there was one night where it was like towards the end we were in the playoff race and we had like I think there was like 16,000 or something and it was like almost sold out the Cavs arena and it was a really cool experience up there. But yeah, Hartford did well too. I mean, it's tougher in Hartford. I feel like it seems like the arena is like so much bigger than it is and like it's tough sometimes, but
Well, yeah, it's a big arena. They just have with the
yeah.
whole upper bowl, it's covered because they don't sell it. But who knows if they go to the finals or whatever they do now, maybe
Yeah.
they'll push some good numbers in there. And
Yeah.
talk about the
Like,
run they're on now.
yeah, they were getting more like this year was better than last year, and they were saying that it was better. Like it keeps getting better. So I mean,
Yeah, which is
I'm
good.
sure if they go on a run and they keep winning, they're going to get more fans.
Yeah, I mean they've been there forever, so I mean they're pretty much Hartford has a good little hockey history there, obviously with the Whalers and everything. But
Yeah,
um, I hope they stay there because there's rumors a couple of years that they might be moving. They were thinking about moving the team around, but no, I've talked to some people that played up there in Cleveland, and Cleveland they say it's so cool there. And plus, who did I have on before the Blue Jackets got there? They're the only game in town. And they're like, we're the only game in the state. Everyone loves us. So,
yeah,
it's how cool the experience is there. And obviously, you're playing in a pro arena. It's got to be some pretty good amenities too.
yeah, yeah. It's really cool. We actually like the last couple of weeks we went on a tour of like the Cavs locker room, and like we got to use a lot of their stuff too, which was awesome. And like the stuff they have is just a different level. It's insane. But like before the game, like normally like my whole life I played like soccer before the game. Like you just like juggle the ball. When we were in Cleveland, we play like knockout. We're playing basketball up in like the Cavs practice arena or practice basketball court. So that was pretty cool. It was
That is
fun.
pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. All right, so let's talk about Chris Knobloch. Obviously, uh, Rangers looking for a new head coach. His a hot name. Hartford's having a great run this year. What is he a player's coach? Like, give me like a breakdown of him and his coaching style, and maybe if he does get promoted, what Ranger fans can kind of look forward to.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly like. I mean, I would think he's a player's coach because it seems like he really takes into account what like the players say to him and everything. But yeah, like going through what he does, like I mean, the practices are always high tempo, which is pretty nice, and he works a lot on systems. So I mean, that's pretty good for a younger team, and I mean, I guess the Rangers too, because they got a lot of veterans and a lot of good pieces up there mixed in with the younger guys. But yeah, I think overall he's just a good players coach, good guy. I think the Rangers would like them. I think Ranger fans would like them if he wins, I guess. But
Well, yeah,
yeah,
if you win, doesn't matter who you are.
yeah,
You're good,
exactly. They'll like you. So I guess that's a precursor.
I mean, as a Devils fan, Lindy Ruff, I mean, Devil fans hated him as of 6 months ago, and now he's the greatest man in New Jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
All about winning.
Didn't they chant sorry to him or something?
Yeah, the opening night, they're chanting "Fire Lindy," and then
Yeah,
the All-Star break, they're chanting "Sorry, Lindy."
yeah,
So at least they recognize that, they're terrible people.
Yeah, they realize they're wrong.
In the locker room, is he like a rah-rah guy, or is he more of like a laid-back guy?
No, he's definitely more of a laid back guy. Like he's not really like not a screamer at all. Doesn't really yell. Like he's just more of a sit back, and like in between periods he'll give you the adjustments we're gonna make or whatever, and like doesn't really yell too much. And if he has something to say to you, he'll just kind of go up to you behind you on the bench. Like it's not like he's gonna like I mean, I've had coaches pretty much my whole life before that, like that are more of like yellers, and
Mhm.
like I'm used to it, so like it doesn't bother me. Like my junior coach like was always a yeller, and like I love him. And I mean, Rand yelled a lot. I love him too. So like either way, like I mean I like both now. I've seen both sides, and I'm also fine with not getting yelled at. But yeah, I would say Knobloch's definitely not a yeller.
And I think Ranger fans, like, their lasting memory of him is when he came up to coach when the coaching staff had COVID, and they won 9-0 on St. Patty's Day against the Flyers in the St. Patty's Day massacre. And, he was like the lasting image behind the bench, just like, oh, they're winning 9-0. This guy, he's the best. And that's when like Quinn was on the hot seat, and everyone's like, why don't we just keep this guy up here?
Yeah.
I think he went like 4-2 in the 6 games. Like he did great behind the bench for them. So who knows? Maybe he's the answer. I don't know. Maybe your guy Rand's the answer. He's a hot name in the market too.
Yeah. Who knows?
I
saw
don't
that
know if
too.
he'd
I was
leave.
like,
Would he
yeah, I
leave
don't know if he's
Quinnipiac?
gonna leave. I don't know. That's like his baby.
That's his, yeah, that's him. That's him. The whole thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he'd want. I mean, I don't know for sure, but like, I personally would be scared to take the Rangers job if I like not if I were him, but if I was anyone, because it's just like Gallant came in, had 2 really good years, and everyone's like, are you gonna get fired? Like, it's kind of tough for a coach in New York.
The guy has the best winning percentage of any Rangers head coach in the history of the franchise.
Yeah.
Gone after 2 years.
I
You
know.
lose to blow a 2-0 lead to the Devils. You're done.
Yeah.
That's it. Conference finals the year before.
Yeah.
Lose to the Lightning, the Dynasty Lightning. You lose to,
Yeah.
and then the next year you're done. I mean, yeah, it's tough. And Rand, I mean, he's gonna leave Quinnipiac for this, and like last 2 years, and then he's out, and
Yeah.
can't go back.
Go back. Yeah.
Can't go back.
Yeah.
So that's right. Yeah, I don't know if he'll leave, but yeah, I saw his name kind of get floated out there as a possibility of someone. Obviously, Knobloch. I think people are more focused on him just because of him being handpicked by Chris Drury to take over Hartford. Like he's like kind of his guy.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. So you're a free agent, correct?
Yeah.
So what's the deal? Where are we going next?
I mean, I really enjoyed my time, and I mean I enjoyed my time in Hartford as well. But like the end of the year I ended in Cleveland, and I really like enjoyed my time there, and played a lot there. I loved like the coaching staff there. So I mean I'd like to go back there. We'll see what happens, but whatever. I mean I'm just gonna keep grinding, trying to move up, but wherever I go. But yeah.
So the thought is to stay stateside, though. Is there any thought of going European route yet, or is that you're still focused on the AHL and
Yeah, I think
and
I'm still
working away?
focused on here as
Yeah.
of now. Yeah, like I got engaged.
Oh,
This past year.
congratulations!
Thank you. And she's a nurse. She's doing like the travel nurse thing. So it works out for us more in America, where she can take a job up wherever I sign next, and she signs like those short term things. So
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to stay together here.
See, I was waiting for you to say, "Oh, she's somewhere," and I'm like, boom, there you go. That's a target market right
Yeah.
there. That's where he's headed. The old Jacob Trouba thing. His wife gets assigned to New York City. 3 weeks later, pushes a trade to New York.
Exactly.
I don't know if you know.
Maybe that's what I should do. I should tell her to go sign in like a NHL city, and maybe I'll try to push there.
There you go. There you go. Maybe Arizona. Hey, listen, they're looking for guys.
Yeah.
Okay, you could play in a smaller arena than Hartford. It'd be great.
Yeah.
God,
Bring it back to the college days.
Bring it back to college days. Exactly. I got a couple questions here before I let you go. What's your favorite arena to play in?
My favorite arena. I gotta say it's probably Laval. They got like a mini Bell Center vibe going,
Mhm.
and their fans. I played there twice, once with Hartford, once with Cleveland, and they have sold it out both times, and they are rowdy fans too, and it's really fun to play there.
Who was the guy on Hartford that Ranger fans might not know but should know about?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like Ranger fans are really good with their
Yeah, they're very good. Who's the guy that's under the radar guy though? Who you're like, yeah, this he's good.
under the radar. Trying to think. I mean, going back on defense, I would say Brandon Scanlon.
Okay, all right, that's a good
He's
name.
under the radar, right?
Yeah.
He skates really well. He's just a horse. That's what they say, right? Like a guy who just works hard, skates really well, has a hard shot, plays good D. I think he's tough to play against, and I think he's under the radar.
Okay, all right, that's a great answer, by the way. It's exactly something I was looking for there. What else we got here? Dylan Garand, could he be in the NHL next year?
I mean, I think so. I mean, that's a guy that works hard, and he is probably one of the hardest working guys I've ever seen, and he's a young guy, so that's really impressive. Really takes care of his body. Like he's the first guy in there, last guy out, like one of those kind of guys. I mean, I think he can definitely play in the NHL. I mean, he's playing out of his mind right now in Hartford, and he's doing a great job.
Have you witnessed Louis Domingue eat spicy pork and broccoli?
I have not. I wish.
And did the guys rip on him for that?
Honestly, no. I thought like there would be more joking around about that, but he's like a pretty he's kind of a jokester too, so like it's hard to rip on a guy like that.
I was really hoping that his mask would have it on it this year. Like I thought he would play into it a little bit because like he had the whole like tweet. I think it was a tweet like I really like the broccoli so much or whatever it was. Like I'm coming back to New York. Like I'm making like whatever it was.
I think he tweeted something like anyone have recommendations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was already hoping he would play that into it like that.
Yeah.
Who's the jokester? Who's the prankster on that team?
The jokester? I mean, I'm trying to think. I feel like a lot of the teams pretty like we're in Hartford. We were pretty light. Like everyone's joking around. I mean, Johnny Brodzinski, he jokes a lot. I would say Tim Gettinger. He's a quiet guy, but he definitely has some good jokes. Like sometimes it's the quiet guys that are funny.
What's the best prank you've pulled off?
Best prank. I don't know. I really like. I can't think of pulling a prank off. I don't know.
Have you seen a legendary one pulled on anybody?
This year, like in Cleveland, I'd say they played more pranks on guys. But like as like the new guy, I wasn't one really like pulling any of them off.
Just hoping it wasn't happening to you.
Yeah, like there was a few where it was like they'd like switch the helmets, so like someone would go on to practice with a white helmet, everyone else has black helmets on. Like the water bottle and the helmet trick is just a classic. They did that a few times where you pull out your helmet and there's a water cup there so you get wet. So I mean I would say I guess more pranks happen in Cleveland than
Then Hartford, all right.
Yeah.
What else we got here? Who's your favorite current guy to watch?
My favorite current guy. I mean, I love watching McDavid play.
It's an easy one.
That's an easy answer though. I'll give one more. Like I like watching. Let's see, this playoffs. I've enjoyed watching Palat for the Devils. Like I love the way he plays.
It's one of us.
And then I like Noel Chari too. I like watching him.
Yeah.
Two guys that I like to. I mean, I always like to watch Noel Chari and try to, play like him kind of. And then this playoffs, Palat has kind of jumped off at me as like a guy who really is working hard and getting things done, scoring big goals, big assists.
His steal on Fox and like the individual effort there was awesome.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I hated it. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
It was an awesome play.
Yeah, it's an awesome play. Yeah. We both had differing opinions on how awesome that play was, but yes, it was in general a very good play.
You just pull that out of like what game it was and how important the goal was. Like then
if it wasn't game 7, 0-0 on the penalty kill, it was
Yeah, that's fair.
Is there a guy in the NHL that I don't know? You say you compare yourself to, but is there a guy like you definitely like your style of play like matches up with? Like, would you say it's Muller or Chari?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, I really like watching like him and like Tanev are kind of guys that I kind of one of like the guy who's gonna like win the battles, like get in on the forecheck and like maybe not be like the biggest guy out there, but like win every battle, like hit people and beat people on the forecheck, be faster, stuff like that.
Is there a team you hate playing against?
A team I hate playing against. I mean, I would say it was probably Providence, just because of the amount of times we played against them during COVID. And then that's also the team I got injured against. So that was another check against them. But
Okay.
yeah, that's probably it. Hershey's tough to play against too, actually. And I know
Well,
Hartford.
there you go. Next round. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
coming up. How about like, is there an individual guy or like a defenseman that you just know, like, hey, like you're a hard crashing guy, like there's a guy he's gonna be chopping at you all game long or something?
Yeah, I right off the top of my head, like the one guy in probably the whole league that I have like that I actually like probably like pick my head up and I'm like, oh, I gotta watch out for this guy is McElrath. Like he played for Hartford, he's on Hershey. Like that's a guy you always have to know when he's on the ice. Like I know like there's other guys that like hit and but I mean McElrath is just he has the strength and the size and he hits so hard and you don't want to be caught not paying attention to when he's ready to hit you.
It's crazy because when I remember he came up, like obviously talk about, I mean, Schneider's hitting ability. I'm like, Matt, he just a little bit dirty of a player. I mean, he would kind of just go after guys, whatever it was. But like, I mean, he would kill guys at the blue line.
Yeah. That's another thing, like with him.
And then he would drop the gloves and fight them afterwards. Like he was angry that he hit them.
Yeah. Yeah, like you'll like dump the puck in and then like 2 seconds later he'll come over and like try to finish your hit. You're like, oh, like that's like a guy where you're just like, all right, you're gonna be in for a long night. So it's like you gotta be ready for that game.
That's awesome. Well, Alex, thanks so much for joining us and good luck next year. And if you want to break some news on the podcast where you're signing next, like let us know. And we'll get the news out there where you're going and best of luck.
All right, will do. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, Alex, for joining us this week. It was great to get him on. We've been trying to get him on for a while. Hartford's a little picky with who they make available and what they can do with interviews. So when he got dealt to the Columbus organization, played there in Cleveland, I reached out to him, and we were able to get it done. So I can't thank him enough for coming on the show. Even if he might be a Devils fan and rooting for the Devils a little bit in the playoffs, I still appreciate him coming on. And it was also great to get some of the inside scoop on some of the coaches there he played for, because two of those guys will definitely be candidates for this Rangers opening job. So it was great to get to hear that and just hear some funny stories from him. So I cannot thank him for coming on enough and taking the time out of his off-season schedule here. And we want to wish him all the best luck there in free agency, and hopefully we'll hear where he ends up soon, and hopefully he lands in a good spot with a chance to make the NHL. Obviously, we always root for these guys to, even for that one game, to reach the NHL level. But he's in a pretty good spot there in Cleveland. I've heard great things about playing that arena and how cool it is. So thanks again to Alex for joining us. And that does it for episode 131 of the Broadway Hat Podcast. Make sure you're subscribed to the show on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. All 5-star reviews, $1 is donated to Alex's Lemonade Foundation. So please take a moment in our day, go help an amazing cause, and leave us a 5-star review there. Make sure you subscribe to the show on Spotify as well. Leave us a 5-star review on Spotify. You can also find us on Google Play, Pandora, Amazon Music, Spreaker. Anywhere you get your podcasts, you can find us there. Make sure you also go and follow the show on all social media. You can find us on Twitter at Broadway Hat Pod. You can find my personal Twitter account at KHallNY for only your Ranger updates. I also post all of my stories on Belly Up Sports there as well. Go to bellysports.com and check out the NHL tab there. You can see all my latest Ranger news and stories there that I'm writing. Make sure you go and check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Broadway Hat Podcast. And that does it for this week. We'll see you next week.